Hi and welcome to the first tutorial for the Refuweegee hat. And today I will show you how you do a tubular 2x2 rib cast-on on this. So as you can see here, this just gives you a nice sort of continuous edge that just wraps around beautifully. If you've just stumbled across this video and you're interested in knitting this hat, then between October 2024 and March 2025, all proceeds from this pattern sale will go to the Glasgow-based charity Refuweegee, who are helping newcomers to the city receive a warm welcome. So I'd be very, very happy if you decide to go and buy the pattern. So let me show you how you do the cast on. I also wanted to mention that this technique I've actually learned from Very Pink Knits. So I'll leave her video link below in case you like to see this again explained by somebody else. But today I'm also going to show you how you join in the round and how you close up the little gap that you have at the end. So what you need is your needles. You could have 2 sets of circular needles, or you can have, if you don't have that many stitches, just 3 double-pointed needles. Then you need scrap yarn that will cover the length of cast-on stitches that you have. You can also leave this attached actually to a skein if you want to. And then you'll also need a crochet hook with which you can work a DK weight yarn. We're basically going to start off with a little crochet chain and then cast on stitches using this needle. The important bit here is that you always see where your slip knot was. So the first thing that you want to do is just tie a knot at the end that you will use as your slip knot. And you're just going to start off by working a little crochet chain to have a little bit of a tail. And now will be revealed how bad I am as a crocheter. All right, and now you're going to take your needle, place it on top of the working yarn, and now you're going to cast on stitches basically using this crochet hook. And the important bit is that the working yarn is behind your double-pointed needle or your circular needle. So yarn is behind, I'll grab it, wrap it around and pull it through. And now you need to bring the yarn behind again, and you do the same thing for however many stitches you're supposed to cast on in your size. And I would recommend that you're not being too tight here, because otherwise it's going to make it harder to pick up the stitches later on. Okay, that was my last one. And now you're just going to crochet chain a little bit on the last end here. So bring the yarn to the back now and pull through. Okay, and then just pull through the last loop. Now we're going to start knitting 4 rows in stockinette stitch on these stitches. And for this you're going to start using your main yarn, so the yarn for your hat. So you're going to start knitting at the slip knot end. So here's my little knot. That's why I need to start over at this side. And you're just going to knit the first row, purl the second, knit the third row, and then purl the 4th row again. So I'm going to meet you once I have finished all my 4 rows. Okay, I have worked my 4 rows in stockinette stitch now. This is my knit side, this is my purl side. Now what we're going to do is we're going to start picking up stitches from this cast on edge here. If you've read ahead a bit in the pattern, you'll have seen that we've casted on half the amount of stitches that we'll have at the end when we're starting to knit in the round. That's because we are picking up the other half now here on the cast on edge. So for this, we need to start at the end that we have finished our cast on, so the non-slip knot end. So my little knot is here on the left side, meaning I need to start here on the right side. Now I personally find the first stitch a little bit tricky because I think it's quite hard to spot. The yarn basically runs through that first stitch, so it might take a little bit of practice, but the first stitch is here. You can see how my scrap yarn is running through it. So I'm going to put this on first, actually from the other side. So from this side, okay. And then we're going to find our next stitch, the V here, and go in from behind under the right leg of it. And there we go. And then you're going to go into every right leg of the next stitch. And now that I have put on a few stitches, I can actually start unraveling my scrap yarn. You can also do that at the end, it doesn't matter. So you can see that scrap yarn sort of wraps into the stitch here. There we are. Right, now we can unravel a little bit. Okay, maybe up until here. And you're going to continue until you have picked up exactly the same amount that's on your other needle. Okay, now I can just finish unraveling. There we go. Okay, now you should have the same amount of stitches on the front needle and on the back needle of your work. Now we are going to fold this in half and we're going to start the 2x2 rib pattern. So now you need to hold your work with the wrong side facing up, needles parallel to each other, and working yarn attached to the front right. So working yarn comes out from here. And now we're going to start knitting 2 stitches from the front needle and purling 2 from the back needle. And we're going to continue in this pattern until we've reached the end. This is definitely the fiddly bit. So knit 2 from the front and then purl 2 from the back. And since we started by knitting 2, we should finish this whole thing by purling 2. Okay, so here we are. It doesn't look like very much just yet, so we'll actually just knit a few rows to show you a little bit better, but that's what it should look like. And now I will show you how you join this in the round. Okay, so I have just spread these stitches now onto 3 double pointed needles. You can just join in the round however you like to knit small circumferences. So your working yarn should be on your right hand side and you will literally just start knitting these first 2 stitches here with that working yarn, and that's how you join in the round. Now remember, for this bit you'll need a stitch marker to show you where your beginning of round is. So this is a touch awkward, but I will continue with that 3rd needle here. You can obviously use more needles if you have. So I will place my marker now and then just literally continue knitting. Now, as a little tip, these first stitches sometimes grow quite a bit and I like to knit them through the back loop just to make sure everything's as tight as I could have it. So I'll just knit 2 here and then use a new needle so that everything's nice and tight. And there we have joined in the round. So I will knit a few rounds now just to give some length to this, and then I'll show you what the cast-on edge looks like and how we fix the little gap that we've created. So I have knitted a few rounds so that you can see the cast-on edge in all its glory. It really looks like these knit stitches are just wrapping around here, moving into the purls. And now you can also see the little gap that I was referring to because we have already knitted a few rounds and then joined in the round. So it's just a really tiny gap. It's actually useful if you've left a fairly long tail now from the first row that you've knitted. And you can just use this tail now and a tapestry needle and lightly pull this together. Not all the way, not tightly, because you still want it to be able to stretch a little bit, but just so that it doesn't look like a big gap. I think that should do it, and then you can weave in the rest once you have knitted your hat. So you can obviously also do this as a finishing job. But yeah, there you have it. So that is how you do the 2x2 rib tubular cast-on and join it in the round and then close the little gap here. I hope you enjoy knitting this pattern. Like I said, it is available on my website or on Ravelry if you want to, and all the proceeds between October 2024 and March 2025 will go to the Glasgow charity Refuweegee. If you have any more specific questions, feel free to email in. The support email is on the pattern. If not, I hope you just have a great time making this hat.